Call the meeting to order. Good afternoon, everyone. It is. This really is working better, isn't it? I'd like to welcome everyone and everyone watching virtually, too. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'd like to, for the record, all the members of the town council except Mr. Hinman are here. Mr. Hinman is excused today. Christy Ray is taking the minutes, and Will Wharton is our IT director. And, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gravier, our town manager, is also here.
By the way.
By the way.
Sorry about that.
Quite all right.
Okay, first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And I'd like to add to the agenda the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting. So with that, could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on August 18th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any corrections, any comments? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? The ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the reorganizational meeting held on September 18th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. The next item is the approval of the minutes of the special meeting held on September 18th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the executive session held on September 18th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Next item is the approval of the financial report. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor. This report covers the budget through September the 30th, 2023. We are 50% through fiscal year 2024. On the revenue side, this has been a rather challenging summer with lots of rain and replenishment of the beach have affected our income. To date, we have collected 75% of the budget compared to 77.1% last year, slightly behind. On the operating expense side, we have expended 57.6% of our budget compared to 59.8% last year. Recognizing this report is subject to audit, I respectfully move that the council accept and approve an unaudited report.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Any questions from those attending? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The next item, any announcements? Does anyone from, anyone in attendance have anything they would like to say that's not on the agenda? Talk about anything that's not on the agenda? Okay. Yes, sir. Huh? Yes, but nothing that's on the agenda. Okay. So you haven't, you're gonna, you are interested in something on the agenda?
No, I'm interested in something different. At the end of the meeting, I'm assuming that people can speak.
Oh, sure. If you, yeah. Please come to the microphone and identify yourself with your address. Yes, name and address, please. As long, it's not an item on the agenda, is it?
No.
No. Okay, then that's fine.
All right. Some of my notes I'm going to take.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, boy.
My name's Tom Marveso. I live in 215 Central Boulevard. I've been there about 30 years, and I just, the purpose why I'm here, I want to determine if there's any occupancy limits on some of these rental properties.
Yes.
It's becoming more and more of a concern for me anyway. I live next door, and, you know, as they tear down some of these homes, they're building these mega units. I live next door to one. One's 217 Central. You know, you can see the rental unit. There's an advertisement for it. And I've seen some good changes and bad changes over 30 years. One of the good changes was that park. That's been a wonderful addition. You know, I know people wanted to make it a parking lot, dog park, but that's been a wonderful addition. One of the other changes, though, is these mega units being built. For example, the one 217 next to me, 11 bedrooms, 11 and a half baths.
Wow.
And you can see the advertisement. It advertises 22 people. It can hold 22. And I can tell you from my experience, it's rarely that, 25, 30 people on a lot of occasions. And I've got grandchildren, bedrooms right next door. For example, Addie C, the old section of Addie C, I think there's only one more bedroom. Before the gentleman, the owner died, and they took over his residence, I think it had only one more bedroom more than this one. So I'm basically living next door to a motel. And I can tell you right now, I've had bachelor's parties in there, wedding receptions. At the end of August, there was I guess an Eastern European singles group. They had a strobe light in there, and everybody was dancing. And I mean, you know. And also, I was just, you know, I know Fenwick, I also attached in there Fenwick, one of their policies I took off their real estate website. The occupancy is limited to 12 people, no matter the size of the unit. So I don't know why we don't adopt a policy like that. I don't know. I'm just wondering if y'all have considered it. I hope you've considered it. Parking's always an issue out front. When there's 20-something people in there, cars all over the place. One of them parked almost on my front area. So I mean, it's personal for me, but you know what? I've also seen that could adversely impact the town too, as you tear more and more of these places down. And also, one of the things I pulled off is I looked at the Sussex County zoning ordinance, and one of the purposes of the zoning ordinance was to reduce and prevent congestion in public streets and to protect against overcrowding of the land. So I don't know, you know, and then if that's their purpose, that's sure not fitting it. So that's just just a concern I want to bring to the council. I don't know if you've ever considered occupancy limits on some of these units, but you can see some of these houses going up. They're just incredibly big. And again, I put the ad for the one next to me, and it's absolutely immense. It's the size of Addie C. I'm living next to a motel.
Sir, do you know when this place was built?
It was probably about 15 years ago. So we put up with it for a long time. I mean,
Okay, since that time, we have passed regulations where any homes that's being built has to have parking under it, and then every additional bedroom has, you have to have parking requirements for all the individuals in there. Every bedroom or the addition of bedrooms, if it has 5 bedrooms, it has to have parking for all those cars somewhere on the property, under the house or something. This house was built before those regulations were put in, but I understand your problem. We'll see what we can do about it.
I appreciate it, but also on that parking part of it is, I think if you have eight or more bedrooms, or 9 or more bedrooms, you only have to have 8 parking spots. So I think the
Okay.
max is that you.
Yep.
So I can tell you right now, 22, 30 people.
That's a lot of people.
I appreciate any consideration y'all give. Again, I've seen the good and bad. This is just a bad side, and I hope you guys have the foresight to look for occupancy limits like you did on that park, because that's just a great addition. So I appreciate you listening to me.
No, thank you very much,
much.
Mr. Barbosa. And if you have any problems too with the noise, please don't hesitate to call the police.
Well, that's another issue. We've had our grandchildren there, and honestly, when they had the strobe light and the party, the singles party, I guess it was, I went over and knocked on the door, and I just said, "Can you keep it down?" Because I have my granddaughter. Extremely polite. Everybody's really nice about it, and they do. So I don't even need to call the police. Most of the time, I'll go over there, and honestly, they've been pretty good people. Got too much pushback.
Okay.
But so I'll call the police, but I hate to do that, But if I can handle it, I will. but
That's good.
it's just an annoyance.
Oh, Thank you, though.
Thank you.
We'll take a look at that. Anyone else? Okay. The next item on the agenda are reports, and we have a report from the Cultural and Historical Affairs Committee. Mrs. Olmsted.
He's a lot taller than me.
Actually, who isn't?
Excuse me. The Cultural Historical Affairs Committee met on September 13th and then again on October 18th. At these meetings, suggestions were made and discussed for having some upcoming cultural evenings that, of course, are held right here at the Town Hall in this room. It was decided that in November, this November, next month, Jim Duffy, who is author of books on the Delmarva Peninsula, will give a presentation at 5 o'clock on the 14th. In addition to having written books about the area, Jim has also appeared several times on Delmarva Life, which is a daily TV show on WBOC. Contact is being made to finalize plans for presenters that Jack has also chosen for March and April of next year. Also, discussion and resulted in the decision for Jack is going to be ordering 2 ornaments, Christmas ornaments, that can be for sale in the Dinker Irvin Museum. One will depict the Dinker Irvin Museum logo, and the other will depict the Bethany Beach Town seal. So we hope to have those by the beginning of December and have them for sale this year. A couple of additions are being made to the Bethany Beach Heritage Trail brochure. The committee reviewed those changes, and Jack has, I think I've even reported it here, has for some time discussed providing trolley tours as an alternative to walking to see our historic homes. And I think we're getting close, and it's hoped that we will be beginning trolley tours early next spring. Plans were also discussed for having a holiday event at the Dinker Irvin Museum on Saturday, December 9th this year. The event will be advertised in conjunction with holiday festivities that will be held on at the Nature Center that day. Beginning in November 1st through April 30th, the museum will be open on Saturdays from 11 to 1 instead of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, as is during the summer. Early plans regarding Perrier Day were briefly discussed. We will be having visitors from our sister city here in July for about 3 or 4 days. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Ms. Olmsted. Next, we have a report from the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee. Ms. Keel.
Thank you, Mayor. The Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee is focused on our initiatives for 2024, and those initiatives include what we are calling situational awareness for pedestrians and bicyclists, but that's everyone's favorite topic of encouraging people to walk towards traffic instead of walking with traffic. Additional rapid beacons on Route 1 and 26. We're hoping to plan a seminar this summer for J1 students. It's been done in the past in conjunction with Sea Colony, but we haven't, this past summer we weren't able to coordinate it, so we would host it here and have them come to us. We'd like to have a workshop with surrounding communities so we can make sure we're all working towards the same goals. We would like to start to utilize the town newsletter and potential app to get messages out to everyone, residents and visitors, and continuing to engage with homeowners associations around Bethany. And also, this list was put together with feedback from members of the community who attend our meetings, so I just want to thank those people for their time and input.
That's it. Thank you. Any comments, questions? Thank you very much, Ms. Keel. The next item is a report from the Stormwater and Flooding Committee. Mr. Caleb.
Thank you, Mayor. The Stormwater and Flood Committee had our meeting on Thursday, September the 21st at 1 p.m. All members of the committee were present. All the committee members were introduced. We had a speaker, Bob Collins, Program Facilities Manager for the Delaware Center for the Inland Bays. He provided a very interesting and informative presentation on the how-tos of land of inland bays homeowners, which luckily and nicely dovetails with the town's new efforts to help the town fight flooding. This initiative, for which we put out new pamphlets recently, which you can find them all around town, right here in Town Hall. And we have been also putting in A-frame signs around at special events, which kind of also brings forth the items of what homeowners can do on their own property. The town manager, Cliff Gravier, briefed us on the Loop Canal Steel Flap Dam project, as well as planned canal dredging, bulkhead work, and living shorelines line projects, which are in the works. Also on beach replenishment, also on the status of the Back Bay study, and DelDOT's Route 1 initiative. There were numerous questions and discussion, all very positive from residents of Bethany, but we also had several from Salt Pond here, which was kind of nice. The meeting adjourned at 2:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caleb. Any comments, questions? Anyone? Okay. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a report from the Budget and Finance Committee. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee met Thursday, October 19th, to review the second quarter of fiscal 2024. The main purpose of the meeting is to compare the results of our first 6 months with the previous years. Town revenues for the first half of the year were $9.6 million, which is 8% higher than the prior fiscal year. The main reason for the revenues were a higher increase in parking rates, higher interest rates paid from the town's investments, as everybody recognizes, and strong housing market. Current projections indicate that the town revenue should exceed the budget by at least $450,000 by the end of fiscal year. Townwide operating expenses were $6.3 million, which is also, unfortunately, 7% higher than last year. Most of the increases were from higher personnel costs, including purchasing new pay stations, upgrading parking department software, and aerial mapping projects which are being used for draining studies. The committee discussed the town's fund balance policy and recommended a change to the calculation on minimum and maximum reserves. The committee recommends that the town council amend the policy to add inflationary adjustments for assets with a useful life over 40 years or more. This change will increase the recommended amount that the town should hold in reserves in the water fund. Our next committee meeting will be Thursday, January the 18th. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Any comments, questions? Anyone? Okay, thank you. The next, we have a report from the town manager, Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, Council, to the Delaware Department of Transportation's credit, about 2 years ago, they began a project called their Delaware Route 1 Resiliency Study. And better late than never, this study and the group working on it are trying to make Route 1 more navigable, if you will, during storm events. Anyone who's lived in the area for any period of time knows that Route 1 floods north of Bethany Beach, can't be used as an evacuation route, floods south of Bethany Beach and can't be used as an evacuation route. This group is working on some resiliency measures. Some of them are very extreme, and they go as far as creating a substantial amount of seawalls potentially at some point in time in the future. And some of them are more more relevant and more imminent. The two that are imminent, I think probably we'll see some work on in the next year or two, are one north of the Indian River Inlet, in the area just north of the inlet where the natural inlet occurs. They'll be working to fortify that. I believe they might go as far as doing something like a seawall if they don't substantially raise the road or create some sort of an overpass into the bridge. And also they'll be at critical areas on Route 1, raising the elevation of the blacktop even more than they have already done. There is no work plan for anything within our corporate boundaries, and we're fortunate that on most occasions we don't see flooding on Route 1. Rarely. We saw some this year with the 4.5 inches of rain in the 2 hours at Hollywood, and once in a while we'll see the loop creep up to the shoulders, but rarely do we have issues on one. This was an update for us, and at this meeting we were able to talk about one of our concerns, and that's flooding on Route 26 that's caused by a gut on the Assawoman Canal. So this was a meeting the mayor, vice mayor, and staff attended here recently with the group, and they're working hard to put something together, but I think they have quite an uphill push here into the future decades, and they make it clear that this is a plan or plans for future decades. Early in the spring, we were talking about partnering with the Christian Church regarding a parking lot, a pay-to-park lot on the property they have at the southwest corner of the church. I see the pastors here. And our update on that is we have yet to find engineers that want to work on the same schedule that we have. So we had hoped that we would be able to do some preliminary work on what we thought would be a very simple project with some fencing and stones, but the engineers didn't really get into focus on the project until August, which was obviously too late to do anything for the summer. And then we had also hoped that by using stone or gravel, we wouldn't toll the bell for having to deal with the Sussex Conservation District and their plans and their ideas on stormwater management. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and they've come back to tell us that if we want to stone the area where we thought we would be able to park between 70 and 75 cars, that we would have to create some kind of a stormwater feature on the property that would cut down the number of available parking spaces to about 35, which I think makes it something that wouldn't be to the benefit of the church or the town. We were going to partner with revenue sharing on the project. With that concern in mind, we will now just plan to, again with the church's approval, just stone the main traveled portion of the lot, the circle, and the spaces that will be marked by parking bumpers will remain grass with some kind of a geogrid surface if we can find something that's suitable. Right now, Sussex Conservation has that plan under their review, and we have yet to hear back on that. But that's where that stands. If we get the go-ahead, obviously there'll be something, again, in concert with the church that we look forward to being able to do next year. The town has had a tidal gauge right at the Route 1 in the Loop Canal for a number of years, and that's been tied to our real-time app on our town's website. And if you've never used that app, it's a really valuable tool to look at flooding, real-time flooding in Bethany Beach at the time you see a storm. It's in the weather, you can pull it up on the weather icon, you'll scroll down, you'll see real-time weather app, and you'll see a diagram, and on the diagram it has different heights of tidal water levels, and you hit that height corresponding to what the gauge is reading, which is also on the page, and you can see very accurately how much of Bethany Beach is flooded at any point in time. For a number of years, that gauge worked very well. Then with some changes from 3G to 4G, some of the equipment changed, and when we replaced equipment, we have not been able to keep the gauge functioning properly for really about the last year and a half. We are not able to find anyone to work on it because it's a very niche market, if you will, for people that work on those types of things. But we have been fortunate to begin to working to form a partnership with the U.S. Geological Service. They maintain a system of tidal gauges around America. They maintain the tidal gauge at the Indian River Inlet, and the only other tidal gauge in the immediate area that's part of their system is at the south end of the Asselman Canal near south of Jefferson Bridge Road. So that doesn't give us the type of data that we need or really want, and our gauge was not part of that system. It was our own private Bethany Beach gauge. So we are now right on the cusp of forming a partnership with them, where the gauge here at Route 1 will be a USGS gauge, and with that, in talking to our engineers about where else we might put gauges that would benefit us in being able to deal with stormwater issues and community resiliency, we believe a gauge right at the confluence of the loop in the Asselwoman would be a benefit, and then one at the very north end of the Asselwoman. Right now, when we measure tidal measurements, we start with the Indian River Inlet, and then we wait to see water level increases, and a high tide at the inlet would mean we would see a high tide here, Mayor, about 5 to 6 hours later. But having those other gauges and being able to use that information would be a benefit to us. We're about to enter into an agreement with the USGS to replace our gauge here, install 2 new gauges, and a 5-year agreement which would cost us about $32,000 a year over the 5-year period for a total of $163,000. But we'll be moving ahead with that, and we'll be bringing that purchase order at some point in time to the council. We have added 3 more EV stations on oceanfront lots, Wellington, Ocean View Parkway, and Campbell Place. And those stations both have 2 ports, so that brings the total number of EV stations we have in town up to 16. And we'll continue to look for other places where we think they might work well for us and other installations for installs on those gauges. And Mayor, that's all I have right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gravier. Are there any comments or questions? Anyone in attendance? Mr. Gong?
I'm in between height. John Gahn, 676 Collins. Mr. Town Manager, is there any timeline for the Collins Avenue project going forward, the safety project?
Sure. We're right at the juncture where we will be probably looking at bids here in the next few weeks. And the project schedule would be somewhere from mid-November to May 15th. One of the issues that we'll have to deal with is that it's a pervious pavement project, and because pervious pavement can only really be laid in warmer times, the project might push into early spring as opposed to beginning in the November timeframe. You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay. Moving on, there's no old business to consider. Under new business, we have discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a resolution in recognition of Bethany Beach Christian Church celebrating 25 years of full-time ministry in Bethany Beach. Mr. Kaler.
Mayor, Council, I have the pleasure of presenting Resolution 2023-4. This is the Bethany Beach Christian Church celebrating 25 years of full-time ministry. The Town of Bethany Beach, Sussex County, Delaware, Resolution 2023-4 by the Mayor and Town Council of Bethany Beach, approving and adopting by resolution Bethany Beach Christian Church celebrating 25 years of full-time ministry. Whereas Bethany Beach Christian Church began its year-round congregation within the town of Bethany Beach in October of 1998, and is celebrating 25 years of full-time ministry. And whereas on November 12th, 2023, they will be celebrating their 25th year of full-time ministry at the church. And whereas the church and the town have a wonderful working relationship, and a slogan of the church is that it is the church that named the town. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the mayor and the town council of the town of Bethany Beach, Sussex County, Delaware, recognize that Bethany Beach Christian Church has provided 25 years of full-time ministry and expressed their sincere appreciation to the church for 25 years of dedicated ministry to our community, and wish the church continued success in all endeavors. Do we have any discussion?
Do we have a motion? Do you have-
Yep. I make a motion that we approve and adopt Resolution 2023-4.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any
Nat?
discussion? Is there anyone here from the Christian church? Could you, come up and just tell us your name?
I'm Pastor Rich Bosinski of the church. It's been my 4th year here. We have such a nice relationship with the town. I'm glad here in our day being in the department. We'll develop that relationship. Hi, I'm Pastor Rich Bosinski of the Bethany Beach Christian Church. We have such a nice, good relationship with the town, with the park, and with the possible parking, which looks like we're making some progress on that. We appreciate the relationship we've had, and we are going to be celebrating on November 12th our 25th year of full-time ministry, with lots of guests coming in. For a lot of guests, we only have 40, 50 members. A lot of guests, maybe we may have 80 to 100 people at the church. So I thank you very much for passing the resolution, and I'll be happy to present it to the church.
No, thank you very much, and thank you for all you've done for the town and the wonderful working relationship we have, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
you. Okay, with that, anyone, any further comments? Okay.
Do we have a second on the motion?
We have
Yeah,
a
did.
second.
We did, yeah. Okay, and now, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Okay, you take over. It's your turn.
It's my turn.
Yeah, you have to read all these because I can't read them.
Oh, okay. Okay, next we have discussion and consideration and possible vote on appointments to the Board of Adjustment. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. I recommend that the following individuals be appointed to the Board of Adjustment, and I ask for a motion in that regard. The first would be Steve Boyce for a 3-year term ending October 20th, 2026, and the second is Jack Gordon for a 2-year term ending October 2025. The other current members of the board are Mike Loftus, Sherwin Weinstock, and Rich McHugh. So I ask for, those are my recommendations, and I would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
And do we have a vote?
All those approve?
Favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, discussion and consideration and possible vote on appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Caleb. I recommend that the following appointments be made to the Planning and Zoning Commission for the following individuals for 3-year terms expiring on October 20th, 2026, and that would be Mark Bernhuber, Mike Boswell, and Kathy Shorter. And the other current members of the commission are Diane Fogash and John Gong, and their terms expire in 2025. So I ask for a motion to approve those 3.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item, discussion, consideration, and possible vote on committee appointments. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And I recommend that the following individuals be appointed to the following town committees beginning October 2023 to October 2024. The Audit Committee, Jack Gordon is the chair. It would be Tom Henry, David Mercanti, a new member, Frank Myers, and Richard Slavkin. I'm going to do all this together and we can have one vote. A Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee, Mickey Hinman is the chair. Art Diver, Diane Fogash, Teresa Keel, Dan Rosenblatt, Tim Schweitzer, and Carl Tull. Budget and Finance, Jerry Morris is the chair. Denise Boswell, Marty Decree, Joe Healy, Fulton Lopato, Patrick Shepley, and a new member, Mark Tanowitz. Charter and Ordinance Review, I'm the chair. Mike Boswell, Carol Brigleb, Lee Bunting, Michael Loftus, and Tempe Steen. Cultural and Historical Affairs Committee, Carol Olmsted is the chair, and the members would be Lee Bunting, Carol Califf, Jan Kinsella, Theo Lopato, Mary Lou McInerney, Marissa Miller, and Claire Simmers. And Julie Maluski is a staff non-voting member. The 4th of July Parade Committee, Bruce Fry is the chair. Ray Armuller, Chris Armuller, Scott Bell, Ron Califf, Jen Carter, John Cellini, Maureen Kilmer, Mark Levin, Chris Lawrence would be a new member, Doug Mowry, Jerry Morris, Marcia Ridenour, and Patrick Shepley, and also Julie Maluski as a non-voting member. Non-Residential Design Review Committee, Lou Kilmer is the chair, Mike Boswell, John Hendrickson, James Weisgerber, and Susan Frederick. The Stormwater and Flooding Committee, Ron Califf is the chair, a new member, Bob Collins, Bruce Fry, Jack Gordon, Matt Kirks, and Chip Smith. And Telecommunications Committee, Patrick Shepley is the chair. Members would be Margaret Cook, Ron Dobes, Brad McIlvain, Paul Smith, and Jim Tobin. So I ask for a motion to approve those members.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
It's a mouthful.
Okay, the final item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to 29 Delaware Code, Section 10004B9 and 6, relating to personnel matters and potential litigation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Before we adjourn the meeting, I just wanted to thank everyone, all these people who have volunteered their time, who have been appointed to the Board of Adjustment, Planning and Zoning, and each of the committees. The town could not do it without you, and we really appreciate your dedication and all your hard work, so thank you very much. And with that, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Not adjourning.
Oh, it's a recess, sorry.
We're going to recess. We're going to recess.
Sorry, recess.